Zachariah Joseph Clausen. I'm a lawyer and a Nigerian. I'm a promoter with Innovative Biotech Nigeria Limited.
It is important to state why it is important to set up a local vaccine manufacturing. If you look at statistics today, you will see that 56% of communicable diseases account for communicable diseases account for 56% of disease burden in the developing world, versus just 6% in the developed world. So there's no way. Water is the #1 life saver in the world, followed by vaccines. So the only way that we can prevent these diseases is through manufacturing of vaccines. So if you look at what happened this year, regarding the meningitis crisis, you saw clearly that there was a vaccine shortage, that even with the money that was budgeted, we couldn't find vaccines to buy. So that calls for a sustained local vaccine manufacturing, because, for example, the epidemiology of meningitis is well known. We know that from January to April, there's the possibility of having an outbreak. So what we ought to have done was to vaccinate people around that November, December, so that we don't lose a single life. And then again, diseases like hepatitis B, for example, the vaccine has been available since 1982. It is really unacceptable that we have 25% of our population, based on the statistics that we are reading from authorities in the country, carrying this virus, that the vaccine has been available since 1982. So again, this calls for local vaccine manufacturing. There are so many advantages which we will talk about. Now, if you look at HPV, that is a human papilloma virus that causes cervical cancer. This vaccine has been available for a couple of years now, but it's still not yet part of our vaccination program. The simple reason is because of the cost, So, and we know that the costs associated with vaccines are those of logistics, not necessarily the cost of producing the vaccines. So these are some of the reasons why it is important for us to set up a local vaccine manufacturing. If you look at the difficult vaccines to make, like HIV, malaria, TB, you find out that these diseases are predominantly in Africa. And then there's really no commercial interest for big pharmaceutical companies to venture into those vaccines, because it has no commercial value. So these vaccines basically need to be developed, championed by developing country scientists. So this is, again, one of the reasons why it is important to have a local vaccine manufacturer, so that whatever vaccine that you make in the lab, you should be able to produce it for clinical testing. You do the clinical trials locally, and then this is where the problem is, and then the vaccines should be tested where the problem is, and that is the way to accelerate new vaccines development. So without any doubt, there are so many advantages for producing our vaccines locally.
So one of the issues that we are trying to focus on and we are trying to tackle is, how do we make sure the vaccines that we develop really reaches the populations that need it the most? And in our industry and in our company, and when we talk to other scientists, we talk about a term called global access. That means when we develop a vaccine as an Indian company, we want to make sure that that vaccine is not just available for Indians or other Asians, but we want to make sure that it's available for all populations around the world that really want those vaccines or that really need those vaccines. And that requirement of vaccines is based on disease burden, as we say in epidemiology. And what is disease burden is the number of children or adults that are getting infected by a certain virus every year. In the example that I gave earlier, which is about rotavirus, rotavirus causes diarrhea in young children, and some children get severe diarrhea, nothing else happens. Some children get severe diarrhea and they have to be hospitalized for a few days, and then they get dehydrated and they have to be hydrated again, and then they can be discharged after 2 or 3 days in the hospital. And some children unfortunately die within 2 days or a day, and that in Nigeria is about 10,000 children every year. And for example, if 2 people die in a car accident, it becomes a headline news and everybody talks about it. But if you can imagine, 10,000 people, 10,000 children are dying in Nigeria every year, which means it's almost 30 or 35 children every day, which means a child is dying every 1 hour, and none of us seem to be taking it very seriously. You don't see a headline news anywhere saying that so many children are dying, but the reality is many children are dying. So we are here to do something about it. You know, as I mentioned earlier, we did develop a vaccine for it from 1999 to 2014. The vaccine is introduced in India and several other countries. In India, it is part of the immunization program, national immunization program. And even in Nigeria now, along with Innovative Biotech, we are talking to the government to see whether our vaccine can be introduced into the Nigerian national immunization program so that it can start saving lives in Nigeria. And how do we propose to do that? We propose to do that in partnership with Innovative Biotech, where we are planning, or we will supply the vaccine to the government of Nigeria for the first several years, and then as Innovative Biotech is established and the manufacturing facilities come online, we can transfer technology to Innovative Biotech and they can start manufacturing the product locally in Nigeria.
The solution for us is to build a vaccine manufacturing plant in Nigeria, and we already have a plan. We are working with 2 German companies, famous big German companies like Bosch and Mack. We've signed an MOU with them. We are looking to have a formal signing ceremony sometimes next month or November to actually launch this project. And based on our discussions with those technical partners, it will take about 18 months to 24 months to have a turnkey facility ready for vaccine manufacturing in Nigeria. We also have 2 other partners from the US that will be around during the signing ceremony, and our friends from India that will be transferring some of the key technologies for the various vaccines that they're manufacturing. We're looking to also have them around during the the signing ceremony. So this is practical. This will be done, and then that is why we need the support of everyone. We have various options to make this happen. We have the technical know-how to make this happen. We have assembled the best partners in the world, and then we have local capabilities, even though our local staff will be trained on the various aspects of vaccine manufacturing. And then the area that we are working on now is to raise the funds to be able to make this become a reality. And we have various options. One option is to assemble investors. Of course, we've talked to various investors, and I mean, we have investors that they're willing to put in a lot of money to the tune of 10 billion, for example, naira, to set this vaccine. The problem with that is that it becomes a business. As you know, vaccines should be something that should be social. Something that the focus here is to make vaccines affordable to the ordinary people. We want a situation where the least in the country should be able to, should have access to the products that we'll be making. And then we chose the route of crowdfunding, and then we saw a partner in Brekete because of the millions of followers that they have. So I think through this platform, we should be able to get millions and millions of Nigerians donating small money, very small money each, to raise the fund that we need, and that way we'll achieve our goal of making products that would be really, really affordable to the ordinary people.
And I think Dr. Agwale brought up a good point. I mean, why are we looking at this crowdfunding source or a platform to raise funding for this much needed project for Nigeria? If we already have funding opportunities from banks, we have funding opportunities from large investors, we have funding opportunities available from also private equity investment banks. The issue in vaccine companies is that it takes a long time to establish a company. It takes a minimum of 3, 4, 5 years to establish a company. That means build a company, to qualify it, to validate it, to start manufacturing product from that facility, and to start shipping out product. That is one step. And the second step is then to develop a product. To develop a product also, it takes anywhere on average from 10 to 15 years to develop a product. So this kind of a long timelines, many investors and banks may not be patient. When a bank or an investor invests into a company, they want returns in 2 years or 3 years timeline. But then nobody is willing to wait for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. That is one problem. And the second issue is that if there is private investments into a company of this nature, which is intending to do low-cost vaccines for Nigeria and other parts of Africa, product pricing is an issue. Product pricing might have to be priced at a much higher price that might not be affordable for governments and local populations. So these are the two reasons why Dr. Agwale has taken and Innovative Biotech has taken this crowdfunding platform approach through the Brekete family. And in the last 2 days, the response has been very, very good. And we are looking for more response in the days and in the weeks to come so that we can achieve our goal of establishing as a company. And also, vaccine manufacturing is inherently complicated. Because of that, worldwide, there are not more than 50 or 60 vaccine manufacturing companies worldwide. If you compare that to pharmaceutical companies that makes tablets and capsules, there are more than 100,000 pharmaceutical companies worldwide. So it is easy to establish pharmaceutical companies and sustain them, but vaccine companies are very, very complicated, time-consuming, and need a lot of money. And that is the reason why we have adopted this approach with the Brekete family.
I think with this, I would rather conclude maybe to say that one thought that came to my mind with this collaboration, perhaps this would be the first vaccine manufacturing unit by the Nigerians, for the Nigerians, and with the Nigerians, I guess, so that no mother need to be worried that the baby will die of a preventable disease called rotavirus.
Well, Nigerians, we've heard it all. This is history in the making. This is an opportunity for our country. This is the time. I want to use this opportunity to call on religious leaders, political leaders, all the youths, technocrats, individuals, whoever you are. This is an opportunity for you to contribute your quota, to be part of something very meaningful and sustainable, not for ourselves sitting here, but for the entire country and Africa at large. The time has come. Thank you.